Now, someone else who's been in the news more for speculation than anything in the ring in recent times is Lawrence Okolie. He was
Mm.
asked a few months ago, are you still with 258 management? He said yes. Looking on your website earlier, I couldn't see him on there on the carousel. I'll let it go around twice just to be sure, but that may just be a clerical error. What
Yeah.
is the situation with you guys and Lawrence at the moment?
So our situation with Lawrence is that Lawrence left us March, April time this year.
Yeah.
So we've not been working with him since the start of the year, to be honest. We were obviously disappointed to see him go. I wanted to continue the working relationship we had with him. I thought we'd done a good job with him. I thought we'd facilitated him getting good opportunities on AJ's cards, on the matchroom shows. But sometimes with these fighters, when they get to a certain level of earning and success, they often want to try and bring things in house and maybe put a team around them that's been with them since they were kids and that are friends with theirs. And that's we have to respect that. That's Lawrence's decision, his prerogative, to make that call. So obviously we were disappointed with it, but there's no hard feelings. We're all still on good terms. Like, I wish him all the best. I think Lawrence Okolie is still the best cruiserweight in the world. I think he could and should be the unified world champion at least at cruiserweight, and then I think he can go up to heavyweight and do the same thing. So I'm still a massive fan of him. But yeah, we've not been involved with his career since the start of the year. And all I know is that I don't like to see the situation he's in now. It's not good for anybody, for either party. No one comes out of these situations feeling positive or looking good when they're having the kind of conversations and disputes that they're apparently having. Again, I don't know any information on it because we've not been involved. So I don't know where those conversations are at or what the situation is. But I just hate to see Lawrence being inactive because he will tell you himself he's a guy that he's at his best when he's training constantly, he's in camp constantly, and he's staying active. So I just really hope for his sake that whatever the situation is that he's going through now, he's able to resolve as soon as possible and get back to winning ways. Because yeah, I still think he's by far and away the best cruiserweight in the world, and he can go and do the same at heavyweight. There's massive fights out there for Lawrence, so I just want him to deal with whatever he's dealing with at the moment and then get into these big fights because he deserves it now. And he's 30 years old, so he's in that sweet spot in his career where he needs to start maximizing. So yeah, I don't know, it's just as much as you, Danny, but I just hope to see it resolved as soon as possible.
I reckon you probably know a little bit more than me about this particular situation, but I digress. Just on that subject, you said about a fighter gets to a certain level and they want to surround themselves with people they've known for a number of years and that they trust. Is that kind of how 258 was born also, that AJ got to that level and wanted to set himself up around people he really trusted?
Yeah, in a way. So the way that it started was Freddie, who's managed AJ's whole career more or less, was they were at another agency together. And yes, and AJ, but the AJ did it quite early on in his career because I think, AJ's slightly different. He was always going to be the poster boy, he was always kind of the golden child. So I think he realized quite early on that he would probably be in a position where you can bring it in-house and it's easier to do so. It's not like you got to respect Lawrence for doing it because it's not straightforward to put this team around you and then start managing your own affairs. It's a hard thing to do and it requires a lot of experience. AJ was in a fortunate position because he was always the kind of the golden child, so it was much easier for him to make that transition. But in answer to your question, that's how it was really born. AJ started his own thing with Freddie, and then I joined in 2016, and then we started building out the stable after the Rio cycle, and we are where we are now. So yes, I mean, Lawrence is probably trying to replicate what AJ has done in that sense, which is fine. And like I said, there's no hard feelings. I wish him the best of luck. I know that he, eventually, whatever happens, he's going to get fighting again. He will become active and he's going to have all the success in the world. I truly believe that. It's just, it's just not a nice thing to see when you see these two parties going at it and having these back and forths. And, I think, you know, some of the stuff that's been said publicly has not probably been helpful. And like, if I was still involved with Lawrence's career, I would be telling him to not, you know, I think when you say some of that kind of stuff, and I understand how frustrating it must be for him and how he must feel, I completely get it. But sometimes when you say stuff like that, you're kind of poking the bear, and you can kind of exaggerate things and escalate things to a place where they don't need to be escalated to. I think probably silence in certain areas is probably much wiser. But look, like I said, it's not really our business anymore. He operates how he wants to operate. I just wish him the best of luck.
Real ones apparently move in silence, as someone allegedly once said.
Yeah.
But does it frustrate you, not just when you see the social media back and forth between Lawrence and Matchroom or Eddie Hearn or whatever, but also just the situation that he's found himself in? You know, Matchroom claiming there's a fight left on the contract. He obviously wants to move on.
Yeah.
Are you kind of watching that thinking, oh, I wish I was still involved because I could do something about it? You've got solutions in your mind.
I find it incredibly frustrating. Yeah, it's because Lawrence has to take credit for everything he's done, but I feel like I worked very hard and very closely with Lawrence at the start of his career to help get him to where he got to, which I thought was a really good place. World champion, headlining shows, good endorsement deals, etc., etc. And then to see this period of inactivity is so frustrating, because it's, you know, it feels like a lot of like the work that was done as a team has kind of been undone in the last year. Now that, like I said, that's not the case. He'll get back to where he needs to get to. I know that, but it's frustrating to see where he was and then the year that he's had now. Like, I definitely find that a really frustrating thing. And I feel like it could have been a situation. It was a situation that could have been avoided. You know, I mean, it's public knowledge. Eddie's alluded to it. He was supposed to be fighting on the AJ undercard in August. So whether or not he thinks he's got one fight left, I was just of the opinion that do the fight in August, and then you're free. Sorry, my phone is just ringing. And then you're free to go to market anyway. So you don't need to get into this situation. But, you know, by that point, he'd left us, and he had his new team around him who are making the decisions and stuff, and they've got their reasons for doing what they did. But yeah, it's from a personal level, it's frustrating because I've got so much time for Lawrence. I'm so fond of him, and like I said, I worked at 258. I was the guy that looked after him, so I feel like we worked as a team to get some good results and get him into a good position. And it's frustrating to see where it is now. But like I said, he's got good people around him. I'm sure. I know that he's going to get back to fighting one way or another. This situation will get resolved, and he'll kick on. And I just hope that moment comes sooner rather than later.